What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast episode 312. I'm your host, Ainsley Bowden. It is another awesome Sunday for gaming, and we've got the crew ready to rock and roll this morning, starting with Mr. Hardcore Hogue, the lawman. You know him. How's it going, my friend?
It's always a surprise with who you're starting with, Ains. I got to tell you.
I know. I just mix it up. Whoever comes
I'm excited. It's clear now that our alignments have been set. I am the light side. Travis is the dark. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
I don't think he'd even argue with you.
I don't know if that's more light. We're both dark side, and Ains is dressed like, a Jedi or Stormtrooper. I'm not sure. Stormtrooper on holiday.
Yeah, Stormtroopers do look like Kings fans, kind of. So, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to do? Good to have you here, my friend. And we've also got the dark side himself coming in with a non-Elgato camera this morning.
That's right. The show starts on time, and I look different because my camera actually does like high dynamic range. So this is actually the color that my room is normally. So like it's not just washed out because of a bad light that makes everything look like it's a million times brighter than it is. So I'm not quite as pasty and vampiric as you might have guessed based on my previous.
As me is what you meant to say.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's your camera. This has really brought a lot of like perspective to me, because it's like maybe the people I see online aren't as ghostly as I thought they were, because cameras do a lot, but this is what I actually look like. And this room is usually this dark because you guys make me do this in the morning. You can see right here. That's a little streak of light coming through because I got the blinds drawn. So
it is. Anyway, I like to imagine you skulking around, avoiding the sunlight like Gollum.
Yeah, that's right. That's me. That's usually
he ducks under that when he walks by.
It's just so unpredictable. Like sometimes I'll have the blinds open, it really brightens up the room, but then like, a cloud will come in and all of a sudden I'm cast in shadow and it looks like, like Sauron is approaching. I just don't want that, So anyway, how are you guys doing? I'm very glad to be rid of Elgato. I still have them for like my key light and some of my other stuff, unfortunately, but like the camera was the big one that was killing me, and they're gone, and it's a new day.
All jokes aside, I'm glad if you didn't have massive technical issues coming into the show today, Travis.
None. It just like you would think. I plugged in the camera and it turned on, and I was like, great. Now I can be on camera. That was the entire experience. Very, very foreign to me. Yeah. So great. Anyway.
All right.
This is me.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long this lasts next week, maybe.
Sure. Okay.
So today we're going to be talking about a lot of games. So we've got Travis's review of Unknown 9 Awakening out there. We've got our review of Neva. We've got a New World Aeternum out now. We've got the new Mario Party out now. Obviously, some more time into Vessel of Hatred, Metaphor. And then we're going to be talking about the Xbox Partner Preview, where we got looks at quite a few games, including The Lake House, which comes out this week, actually. The last expansion for Alan Wake 2. Yeah, and we also got Remedy going multiplayer for the first time in their studio's history. We'll talk about that and some other games, of course.
Now, Ains, have they claimed that? I mean, is that you've said that a couple times? Is that something Remedy has said? Because I usually think of Death Rally or Death Race as at least a kind of multiplayer type game, even if you didn't play it multiplayer.
Yeah, I guess they're considering it that way. So if you look at the press release, it says the studio's first multiplayer game in their near 30-year history is the actual quote. But so I don't know if they mean a certain type of multiplayer. I don't know. But
it's possible that Death Rally never had a multiplayer option. It just felt like a multiplayer game to me that I played in single player.
All games are multiplayer if you share a controller, as I do. All Remedy games, just me and a bro, each grabbing onto one end of the controller.
That's how he plays Max Payne.
That's how I play Max Payne. That's how I play Alan Wake. Adds to the spooky factor if you're not in control of which direction your character is.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's very good.
Are you starting already?
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm derailing us already. Sorry, guys.
We're in the intro.
Hey, but the important thing is that you pointed it out, right? You called it out, and now I know.
Now we can move forward.
Yeah, we can move forward.
Focus.
I really appreciate you, Ains. Thanks for
that. Good morning, chat. Good to see everyone, or good afternoon for you. Let's go ahead and kick off with our super chats to get us started, and Tide's picks, of course. So Googleman is here, kicking us off.
Googleman81 offers 10 euros and writes, "Here's me trying to ruin bacon for you. Researchers at Purdue University conducted a study and found out the pigs can play video games. Yum." That does not ruin bacon for me. That, in fact, makes me want to eat more bacon because maybe I'll become better at video games by absorbing their video game prowess via consumption. Anybody else with me on that theory?
I was going to say that I think that if I have to eat a farm stock critter, if they can play video games, I know that they had a good time before I was eating them.
That's true. Yeah, a little mercy. I was thinking it more of like me gaining XP, like a status effect from eating bacon. But
there's one thing about meal eating that games have really established there, right? Now, in the last few years, since at least like Final Fantasy 15, we make meals, we eat in order to gain status effects that last for a limited to medium amount of time. That's what we all do, right?
Think about it. That's kind of true.
Is it?
The chemicals and your nutrition and how that impacts your brain and your body. I don't know, man. I think it's probably more true than you think.
I don't know if bacon's the right call for that, but yes.
Oh yeah, certainly not. Lots of carcinogens, probably not good. Yeah, but
Yeah. Googleman, thank you as always, our friend.
That's the important thing. It's good for your soul. Ains.
Oh,
yeah.
Fair.
Can't forget that status effect. Wait, does Travis even eat bacon? Yeah. Oh, I know why you're asking that. I'm not one of those. I'm pretty I
think that was an orthodoxy question.
Yeah, it was an orthodoxy question. Yeah. I don't do that. I'm a California boy, and
you can leave it alone. We don't need to. Yeah, we're good.
There you go. Appreciate it.
And Vintage Willow kicking us off with 5 season gaming memberships. Googleman and Willow always kicking our show off. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. And Googleman. And of course, we've got Tide's picks, which this morning I'm actually different from you two because I'm apparently going to catch both of you at some point or never catch either of you.
We said that you were Gargamel last week.
I know.
I was Gargamel. Yeah.
No, you're smart. You can see. The only problem I have with this, I'm adorable, by the way. I know it.
You are adorable, as always. Yeah.
The only problem with this is that, as per our discussion last week, a Smurf is someone who's really good at a video game, and I have never been good enough to Smurf myself.
Wait,
I just don't go around Smurfing.
Well, I'm a Smurf because I procure NyQuil for the purposes of making methamphetamines, but that's the nature in which I'm a Smurf.
Sure.
Also not good at video games, Hogue. However, do Smurfs have white hair?
Well, one, your guys' hair looks definitely interesting, so I'll give you that. They usually have hats. But Travis, why do you have 2 types of hair? You have like a mat,
right?
And then hair coming out of a mat. Is that supposed to be a hat?
Oh, that's his roots.
Supposed to be a hat. No, my roots are blue. That's crazy. No. Wait. So is the argument I only have hair in the back? I'm like bald and I'm combing it forward. Is that the argument here?
You doing the comb over, the Smurf over?
Yeah. Sorry, is my volume too low?
No, you sound fine to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Roots. You're naturally blue-haired, and you were looking for a little bit more erudition. You wanted to be treated a little bit more respectfully, and so you grayed your hair.
Interesting. I love my tie. That looks like
how wide it is.
Yeah. So my guess is that they're going for like the floofy. You ever watch like an old movie where they're wearing what looks like a necktie, but it's like it puffs out into like this big, rifling thing? That comes from the origins of what a tie used to be, which is a place for you to blow your nose and wipe your mouth and dab your head.
Oh, great.
It was basically just a napkin that hung from your neck, but over the years it became increasingly less functional and more ornamental. So if you ever want to go back to the good old days, you can just, blow your nose into your necktie, and that'll really surprise your friends.
Sure.
Anyway, I like that I have really long pointed ears, and I look like I don't eat bacon. Let's just put it that way. I don't know about this AI. I don't know what they're doing to me. Yeah, Hogue, you look amazing, and Ains, as usual, you look unrecognizable as Ains. So
yeah, pretty much.
Can't even tell that it's you, as always.
AI doesn't know what to do with me. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's a cross between me, a Smurf, and Phyllis from The Office.
Yeah, you look like you're inside somebody's head, making them sad. Is that a Disney reference?
Yes, I understand that reference.
Great, cool. I only know that because D has made me watch Disney movies, which I previously had not seen. I don't think even one. So
Inside Out is not my favorite.
It's not our favorite either. I think we both.
As much you want.
I think we both said it was like a 6. We always rank all the movies we watch on a IGN scale. Yeah, it's a basis of a strong relationship.
I watched one of my favorite animated movies with my daughter this week. That I don't know if we have a space to discuss, but I highly recommend to everybody The Wild Robot. It is way better than it has any right to be.
Okay.
Like based on its premise, it has emotions, it has drama, it has comedy, it has really good voice acting, and I'm no fan of Pedro Pascal, but he did a great job. And I highly recommend it to everyone that even remotely is interested in that movie. Go check it out.
Cool. It's weird to not be a fan of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
that's a movie. Like it's basically like it's Avatar, right? Robot goes native. Sorry for colonialism genre of films. No, is that the one?
Well, I mean, broadly, yes, but you're describing it inaccurately.
Okay, well, that's what it looked like from the trailer, but
it's based on a kid's book that my daughter has been was reading for years. It's a trilogy of books. This is just the first book in movie form. It's a very simple story, but it is really, really well executed. It's really beautiful to look at. It's well animated. Go check it out. I highly recommend it.
All right. Well, why don't we jump into games? Those things that we're here to discuss, supposedly anyway. Travis, I'm going to start with you because Unknown 9 Awakening, I only just learned yesterday, was supposed to be this big thing. Like there were plans for a whole universe and multiple games and titles and everything. And outside of seeing this in one of those preview shows, I forget which one specifically it was a few months back. Maybe it was at Summer Game Fest. I knew nothing about this game. And we knew you were reviewing it, of course, but it comes out. It seems to have come out incredibly flat. I know the Steam numbers are extremely low on it. The review scores aren't great on it. So talk to us about this game and where the issues lie.
Yes. So in terms of the expanded universe that this was setting up, so far as I know, the plans are still to proceed forward with that. This is the studio's first game. They're a brand new studio, and they really wanted to create like this unique universe. And so I previewed this game, I want to say in May or somewhere thereabouts. It was earlier this year. And at that point in time, they had just released the comic book. And so I read the comic book as part of my preview and then played the game. And then before the review, they had also released a novel, or actually, I don't even know if the novel's out, but I was given access to a novel, which I read part of. And then this game is part of that universe. And so they have a very ambitious plan with how they're going to build out this universe. And part of it included this game, which was going to be its first, big flagship. When I played it in preview, my thought was, okay, well, this is their first game. So obviously it was not as like high budget as one might expect, but that it had potential in its main unique mechanic, which is its mind controlling mechanic that lets you take over enemies and play as them for a brief period of time. And then you kind of are like a soul jumping into other meat corpses and helping or walking them around and making them, kill each other and set off traps and that sort of stuff. They had like half a year to work on the game at this point. So I figured, okay, maybe they'll clean up some of the other stuff. And it'll be an interesting idea. Unfortunately, having played the entire game, they didn't really clean up a lot of the problems I had with it, which is like the stealth and combat are really flat, and that sort of thing. And then there were also some other problems that I didn't see during the preview that kind of like made themselves known during my time playing the game, which is that the game is actually quite buggy. It performs not super well. And then even the story, which like the world building is really cool, but the story itself that they decided to tell in this particular video game in the broader universe is pretty by the numbers. It's like, you know, classic hero's journey, person has magic powers and you have to hear about all this like magical world building gobbledygook. And then, you know, it just goes on to do exactly all the beats you thought it was going to do. So it was a bit of a bummer. I gave it a 5 out of 10, which on the IGN scale means mediocre. It's not a bad game, I would say. You know, it flirts with being bad pretty often, but it's mostly just that, like, if you've played Uncharted 4 or The Last of Us or God of War, you've already seen a much better, much more polished version of what they're trying to do. And they basically just follow that formula with almost no deviation. The only deviation being the mind controlling powers, which are admittedly pretty cool. It's a nice gimmick. But once you've done it a couple times, you're like, all right, I kind of get it. You just take over a person, you make them smack their friend or, you know, blow up an exploding barrel or whatever. And so after a while, you've done all that. And then you're right back into like the most mild stealth mechanics ever and combat where you're literally just hitting heavy attack or light attack until the enemies die. And it just isn't very interesting. I also played the game on the hardest difficulty, kind of out of like as a joke. And I'm not kidding. And even for the Hogues of the world, like who think that I just say that I play it on hard and it's actually super easy. No. This one's actually like alarmingly easy on the hardest difficulty. As in, like you could just spam heavy attack and the enemy will have no response to that. Just get knocked over. So yeah, it's unfortunately not a very good game. But you know, if they stick to it, keep building up that universe, maybe their next game will be better. I don't have a problem with their world building at all. I think it actually could be pretty interesting if the game were better. And the comic book wasn't bad either. I mean, I'm vaguely recalling it from reading it on a subway station, 6 months ago. But my recollection is that like the world building was pretty interesting and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't recommend playing this one. Apparently, nobody on Steam does as well. But maybe if it were on sale and you wanted to check out the story, you can do that. And I wish the studio best of luck, and hopefully the next game is a little bit more polished, a little bit more original, and we'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
Well, there's certainly space to take the Naughty Dog formula and not be dour and self-serious. I don't know whether this game does that, but I wish it were better than you're telling me it is, Travis, because it sounded interesting as a concept, and I like new intellectual property and not just making the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. I like that it's a new IP too, and I'm always rooting for new IPs. In terms of the self-seriousness, I would say it gets nowhere near as self-serious and like preachy as something like Last of Us 2 or whatever, but that it does, it's got kind of like a serious story at times, and there's emotional moments and, people crying and saying cliches. Like 5 minutes into the game, man, I heard the bad guy say, we could do this the easy way. And I was just like, I just don't want to do this again. Do we have to do this? Like how many more minutes until he says we're not so different, you and I? Like it really kills me, the cliches. So yeah, just no surprises is like the headline with like the storytelling, really. Unfortunately.
Well, I do think it sounds like they invested their time and resources too much into that world building and building out a transmedia universe. I am not going to blame them for that. I think you have to shoot big, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. But I do think one of the pitfalls that you can get into in writing in one of these things is that you build that up so much that you then don't build up a character or a story to actually walk you through, because you're just on a tour of showing off your cool lore. And I think you see that in fantasy books from time to time. I think you see that in certain pieces of media. And it sounds like that's what this is doing. And that's a shame, because I would rather have something fun that I was excited about than a 5 out of 10 from Travis.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's the tough thing about previewing a game is I always try to hone in because it's an unfinished game and usually like 6 months to a year of working on it. So it's not representative of all of what you are going to be playing most of the time, but just like from a concept of like focusing on the thing that if they nailed it would be really cool. And that mind controlling ability, I was like, look, this is pretty novel. Like it's not the first game to do it, but
I was gonna say, I swear I've done that before.
Yeah, but in this sort of like format of third person action adventure that follows kind of in the same vein of like a God of War, it is a little bit more unique and interesting. And so I was banking on that maybe turning out a little bit better, but it kind of is just sort of a small feature within a larger, really by the numbers game, unfortunately. So I wish the best, but this is not it, unfortunately.
It'd be interesting to see, you know, we've seen similar situations where grandiose plans lead to failure out of the gate and then plans change course. So I guess we'll see what happens if they continue. Yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, you never know. If, you know, you have this big investment and you get nearly nothing back on return, it's kind of hard to keep pushing forward. So we'll see.
I think they have investors, though. I know Bandai Namco published this game, so
yes,
I don't know that there's
studios punch through.
Yeah, I don't know that there's studios like dead on arrival. I think they're going to get another shot at this, and then I have to imagine that their other media is probably not, you know, doing amazing, but I think probably the margins are better there, and the content certainly. Like they have talented writers, which is kind of what is a little confusing about how this game turned out. But I think they were just like, as our first game, let's just play it safe, right? Like let's just do what they expect from a video game, and you know, sometimes you do that and it backfires. And I think
what you said I thought was important and interesting is that part of what we do when we talk about video games, we get to the holistic kind of, let's look at the story, narrative, pacing, how the gameplay feels at moment to moment, but we skip because it's almost de minimis understood as we will get a certain amount of technical compliance in games of a certain size or published by certain publishers. And we skip that because we get it, which is great, right? It's great in 2024 that we almost always get that certain amount of technical ability in our games, but that's hard. Games are hard. And so if they don't reach that level with their first game, it's understandable. But the field is so full of things that do give you that confidence that it's very difficult to say, all right, I'm going to reach out and try that one.
Yeah. It definitely
exactly.
struggles on the technical front. It's nothing like so egregious it's game breaking, but just all of the like cliche problems of clipping, getting stuck on objects, frame rate drops, and all that stuff. Like you'll just see it all in there. And it's
which makes sense.
To
Hoog's point, it's just tough. I mean, the industry, we talk about it every week, is so packed right now. There's not even enough time to play all the like 9s. Do you know what I mean? There's not enough time to play all the amazing games, and it's hard to make time for a 5 or a 6.
Right. And there's an era where that kind of potential technical issues of clipping or the camera swings too far or whatever it is that was an issue with this game would have been close to the norm, right?
Yes.
Our gaming experience has improved so much, and we forget to say that really because it's just kind of the de facto state of affairs.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. So I know you were looking forward to this one. You said that it might have gotten a hold of you more than you thought it would, Hogue. So I'm referring to New World Aeternum, which is released on console. We've talked about this, right? Released on console for the first time. It's the new expansion, the new kind of addition in this MMO, if you will. So talk to us about this. How's it? How you doing with it?
All right. So I am adding this to a list I am formally calling Hogue's Hits.
Another list?
It includes entries such as Skull and Bones and Concord. So I apologize, Amazon Game Studios, but New World Aeternum is my new jam. It is absolutely an MMO. It is absolutely not an action RPG as they have tried to sell it to you in their commercials or what have you. It is an MMO. It reminds me the most of Elder Scrolls Online with a dab of Final Fantasy 14. But the best part of this particular game is that it's in a universe and setting that really isn't matched, as far as I can tell in my memory, by anything else in gaming, right? We're pretty used to the fantasy worlds. We're pretty used to the horror worlds. We're pretty used to even science fiction, although that's a little bit less used than some in video gaming. And New World Aeternum takes place on an island called Aeternum that, for lack of a better word, is in the 17th century of the world. So you get some of that kind of colonists and indigenous peoples vibes from those.
A little bit of Greedfall.
A little bit like Greedfall, except the hitch for this world is that everybody is eternally living. Nobody can die. When you die, you get revived, because this world is kind of like Eden or paradise. And so it's collected all of these people from different cultures that existed before that point in time. So the characters in this game are all from like the ancient Chinese Empire or the ancient Egyptian Empire or Romans or French or whatever it might be that existed before. I think it's 1609 in the first video. It's the 17th century. I know that. But it's all exploring ancient ruins and things like farmsteads that remind you of the American Revolution or something along those lines. And it presents that in a world that I just haven't played in before, which is really nice. And the action combat is closer to something like Elder Scrolls Online than something like a attack picker like a Final Fantasy 14 or a World of Warcraft. So in combination, that in of itself is great. Now, what makes it even better is that it's also a kind of survival crafter type game. So it is a game in which you are.
I mean, it's an MMO, and so it's.
I know.
You're walking around a 3D generated, really good looking world. But if you feel like it, you can take down those trees in front of you, and they will have a very satisfying sound effect, and you will gain wood. No, one of the things I want to talk about with Aeternum is that the sound effects.
Hogue gains wood from that sound effect, bro.
The sound effects are fantastic. Like the log cutting and the mining are just wonderful, and you hear them and they echo across like the game world. So you can hear somebody mining iron across from you're combating some ghost monsters or whatever else you're doing, and it's a really nice effect. So that all goes together for an experience that I have not had before. And as I understand it, this version of the game, which hit consoles, that's why we're talking about it right now, is the first time that everything has voice acting in it. Correct. And they added some cutscenes. Now, I will say this. I enjoy this game. The voice acting and the plotting, the story is, I would describe it as cartoonish. Like the accents that they're throwing on here for the various people are Pepe Le Pew-esque. They're of that caliber. And so, flipping between this and metaphor, which is what I was doing this week, is a very different kind of approach to storytelling. And if you aren't interested in that kind of cartoonishness, you're probably not going to love the way it pushes you forward through the game. But if you can get past that, it's still very good.
Yeah. So I played this game when it was on PC.
Yeah. And it's been on PC for a couple of years now, right?
I want to say 1 year, I feel like. Maybe it's a little bit
a little while. Yeah, a little while.
It's been a little while, but I played it when it was like it had like a really big lift off for like 1 month where everybody was playing it.
It did.
There was a lot of Destiny people playing it, which I think is how I got roped into it. Super cool, very addictive. I'm glad to see that it's more polished. I did get a copy on console, so I'm going to plan on playing this one a little bit later. But yeah, very cool, interesting project from a studio that I kind of don't want to succeed because it's Amazon, but it's good. We'll see. It's good, So,
people, man, what?
Yeah,
I know that sounded weird coming from you.
Studio. It's also studio, So it's Amazon.
I understand it's Amazon, but it's they're still developers like anywhere else. They're just
Well, they can go work for somewhere else.
Well, unlike Travis, I am rooting for them to succeed because this is a new intellectual property. It is a new vibe. It has clearly got some different ideas from other MMOs, and more competition is better. It's a lot of fun to play. I also really like that with this console launch, it's just a sales price, as far as I can tell. They've got seasons, they've got stores, they've got things that you can invest into if you feel like it. But unlike Final Fantasy 14, which I still think is kind of crazy to pay for on an ongoing basis, this one is just you buy and you're in. And I think that's really good. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of MMOs, as I think people know. And I do think that this one has the busyness problem. There are aspects of the way they've set up their world where you just have constant people running around in front of you named Fart Face and wearing a burlap sack with a metal helmet on their head, and it's crazy, right? So
you saw my character
vibe. What?
You met my character?
Are you in a burlap sack with like a
yeah, dude? Fart Face, that's me.
helmet?
Fart Face 34. That's me. Yeah, dude, that's totally me.
But I really do like the concept of the world of being trapped on this island where you can't die. It has the vibes of almost something like Lost or From, which I think is a really good entry point for an MMO, and I'm surprised more people haven't tried it, which is like, what are we doing here? What is everything? What is this mystery? Can we ever get out? That kind of thing. And while I do think their storytelling is cartoonish, it is conceptually interesting in a way that a lot of MMOs are not.
Yeah, I briefly looked it up. It looks like, to Travis's point, this kind of, I remember being extremely popular out of the gate because it was a big deal that this launched. Then it was very low, like the population really dropped off. There was chatter last year, apparently, that this was going to die. Apparently, that chatter's obviously gone away now with the console release and this update. So how much is the game to buy?
That's a great question. I don't know. I want to say 60.
It is a full price game.
It's like a $60, $70 game. Yeah. I think the version I bought was like $70, but
yeah. All right.
But it is pretty straightforward right now. I assume that this game is one day going to be more like ESO, where maybe there's not a subscription fee, but they're releasing new stuff for you to buy, like major expansions every once in a while. But I don't think they're at that point yet. And because this is the positive side of it being Amazon, they're not really hurting, right? They can take their time with it, which is
yeah,
cool.
It's enormous. It's an MMO.
It's an enormous game.
I know that they wanted to advertise it as a action RPG, but the vibes you're going to get playing this are much closer to Elder Scrolls Online than something like Diablo.
Okay.
I think their strategy with not calling it MMO has more to do with people's general frustration on what is called an MMO these days. Although I would describe it as an MMO. It definitely has that feel.
Feels like, some people have a negative connotation as soon as they hear MMO to your point.
They expect a certain thing. When they hear MMO, they expect like a certain number of players or like no instances or something crazy like that. And I would say this is on like the smaller number of players in MMO, at least in one that you're seeing on screen at once. But that also could just be the time I was playing it. I don't know if it's changed.
It's super busy now, at least in the first 3 or 4 areas.
Okay.
But that usually thins out as you get into the deeper content. But yeah, there's just tons of stuff to do. Everything has its own experience bar. So logging and mining and fishing and horseback riding and everything else. You're gaining skills. It's well marked. It has the typical kind of MMO problems on console, which is that there's so many buttons and so many things to show you that you have to kind of gain the experience and understanding in your own fingers as to what every button is going to do. But they made some smart choices with the square button essentially being accept on whatever screen you're on. And then they have essentially a mouse cursor that you can also use.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they definitely they do a good job of tickling your brain and making you never want to turn that game off. That was sort of my experience with it the first time, and probably why I haven't gotten to it this time for now. But we'll see how long that holds out, how long I can hold out, because I do want to play this one again.
Well, and I didn't play it in PC version or at launch, so I don't know the precise nature of the differences between this and that. But I've had an excellent time with it. It is at the expense of Diablo this week. I was having a lot of trouble playing Diablo after our conversation last week. And New World Aeternum was where I put those live service efforts. So congratulations, Amazon. You're right there with Skull and Bones and Concord.
No. Amazon receiving your praise. Please don't.
It's really good.
Well, cool. That's good to hear. I know one of our regulars, Newspin.
I think it's pretty easy to say that this will not be on the Hogue's hits insta death list, because this is a pretty big game. Lots of people are into. So you finally chose one that I think is safe, Hogue. Finally,
I mean, Diablo technically is the safest.
Diablo is very safe.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of our regulars, Newspin, was really looking forward to this. I don't see them in the chat, but yeah, hopefully they're enjoying it as well. I wanted to shout out the game. We talked briefly about it last week because the review actually went up Monday morning right after we were live. But the game Neva, which was the next game from Namada Studio, who made Grease, which we talked about. So very kind of artistic approach to their games. Usually, you know, some type of message that they're going for. And so Lewis reviewed this for us. It's gotten very, very heavy praise. If you haven't seen this, it's only about a 5 or 6. Damn it. It's only about 5 or 6 hours long, you know, smaller game, but he really, really enjoyed it. He gave it 8.5 from us. And I think it's averaging like mid 80s right around there. 9.
It's very highly reviewed. Yes.
Yeah. So supposed to be very good. I would take a look at that if you like those sort of smaller games that are kind of artistic, very beautiful, and a little more simplistic, I would say, in gameplay. But yeah. So that review is up if you want to check that out. Please go ahead.
I'd like to take this time to do so because I don't think it's on the list here. I played Neva. I think that artistically it's not as strong as Grease visually. I think the soundtrack of the game is fantastic. It's kind of got a weird European electronic dance music take on Epic Adventure. So check it out for those reasons alone. But as for my indie games this week, I didn't see it on your list, Ains, but one thing that I've really enjoyed playing is a game called Last Time I Saw You, which is a hand-drawn indie, what I consider a super narrative game. Like they talk all the time about everything, like a game like Fall of Porcupine or Beacon Pines or really anything with pine in it. But Last Time I Saw You is a hand-drawn video game. So everything looks like a cartoon. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. I prefer this look to Neva, but it's about a boy who finds himself having dreams of a girl, and that girl turns out to be a forest spirit, and you go on various adventures in this town. And that's all I'll say about that. But if you're interested in any of that, at least click on the button, check it out. Last Time I Saw You is my favorite indie game of the week.
Okay. Favorite indie game. He is a favorite indie game of the week now. We have a weekly indie recommendation from.
I mean, to be fair, enough indie games come out that you could have a favorite indie game.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I bought Neva.
But I'm just trying to keep it going. You know, keep the flow of the show.
Oh yeah, you're good. What are you playing it on?
I saw you. See, the problem I have with indie games like this is that their names are always like that. It's like you're gonna be 3 hours later, be like, Rick said to get something like "I miss you" or
I saw D playing. I saw D playing a game called "That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime." That's a video game.
Fair.
Apparently, it's based off of an anime that she also has watched. So yeah, she's I mean, they go crazy with these titles. Really do.
What platform, Hogue?
I'm playing Last Time I Saw You on the Switch.
Okay.
But it is on the PlayStation. I know that. I don't know if it was on the Xbox as well.
Okay.
What was the last time you played it?
Yesterday.
Can you say that? The last time I played, Last Time I Saw You was? I want to hear the full sentence.
I could say that if I felt so inclined.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Moving on. Cool though. Very cool. Talk to us about either of you, because I know you both played it. Mario Party. So we got the new Mario Party Jamboree. Hopefully going back to some of the things that made Mario Party kind of amazing back in the day. It looked like they were bringing some classic kind of styles of modes and maps back. Anything good?
Yeah, let's talk about the Jamboree. So this game is a delight. Now, I'm sure that's helped to some extent by having 2 daughters that are over the moon for this kind of content, as any given multiplayer experience would be. But Mario Party Jamboree is them going back to really the original couple of Mario Parties and having a focused approach to boards that do weird things and mini games that are short and sweet and don't do too many really oddball things. And with that focused approach, really creating a good experience. In 2024, they then add kind of some of the polish that they've got in their UI and approach to multiplayer games, like you saw with Switch Sports. And the whole thing winds up being really, as I said, delightful. it being a delight is really how I feel about this game every time I turn it on. The boards have a lot of interesting things going on with them. You're constantly earning new boards or new characters or new stamps or whatever else it is that they're giving you in what amounts to a battle pass kind of lineup that you get for achievements that you earn in these games. And it's worthwhile to play. It's fun with friends. And then they've pushed for more kind of single player content. So they have a couple of different modes that are like, I would equate them to something like Tetris 99 or F-Zero 99 or one of those where you just have a horde of people playing the game at the same time with you online, where you get to move spaces forward for the coins that you get in mini games, and then Bowser attacks. And then if you die to a survival mini game, like a Fall Guys type game, then you're going to go back on this board, and it's all done online, and you can see everybody playing it at the same time. And other single player things, like they have a really weird mode that's essentially like a quest mode where you go and you do mini games that are told to you by various characters on these boards. Not that you're playing them as a board game, but that you're kind of walking through them, and you earn stars and you can earn decorations for the central menu, which may not sound very interesting to most of you. It's probably not something I would spend a ton of my time on. My daughter said, this is a direct quote, "I'm going to decorate that place hard." She loves decorating. She loves video game decorating.
With that level of aggression?
Yes.
Okay, good.
With that level of aggression. She loves decorating. She loves having that ability. I believe she has something like 400 houses in Happy Home Designer for Animal Crossing. It's just what she's about. But this game is really well polished, really fun to play, and I haven't felt this way about a Mario Party in a number of iterations.
Good.
Nice.
That was the goal.
Yeah,
that's.
I haven't played enough of it. I haven't even played one full match yet, but so far so good. Feels like Mario Party. Very good vibes all around, and maybe I'll play this one with some buds, holding the same controller. You never know. You never know how I do it with my
Why
bros.
would you all hold the same controller, Travis? Is this a different kind of party?
It's just a brotherhood.
Can you play this? Can you play it with one Joy-Con? Like if you're playing 4 people co-op in the room, like what kind of?
Yeah, I mean you can play. Yeah, you can play it on.
Do you know what I mean? Do you need to put both Joy-Cons on the controller or use a Pro Controller? Can you play with half?
No, it's better with one because they have motion games.
Yeah. They have motion games,
that's
and
what I
in
was
fact,
asking.
if you're playing on a Switch Lite where the sides don't come off, this game is, I imagine, feels a lot worse. I'm assuming a lot of the mini games are inaccessible to you if you play that version. But yeah, you basically have to play it on like a Joy-Con.
Okay, all right. Oh, I was just trying to
Forget
think.
that wrist strap, guys. Strap up, okay? We strap up in this house.
It is always so almost angry with that message. Put a strap
Should
on.
be.
Put a strap on it.
That's
all right.
That's my catchphrase in life. Put a strap on.
It's funny. I tell my daughters, just don't hurl the Joy-Con and we can get away without it.
I said Ames. I said put a strap on. I didn't say put a strap on. Okay.
I don't know why you're correcting for me.
Very crucial differences. Okay. All right.
If English isn't the first language, things.
we're barreling toward a misunderstanding.
All right. Let me catch up. I know we got a couple other things to talk about. Let me catch up on some super chats real quick, though.
Tao Zochi offers $10 to my personal checking account to write "Sup chat Bitcasters, finishing up Monster Hunter Rise before Wilds. Redacted, Malzeno is a dirty word problem. These elders make me wonder what they will do in Wilds. Stay hunting, casters."
I don't think Elu is here today, our resident Monster Hunter nutbag, as Hogue may call him.
Nutbag.
Monster Hunter, a lot of Monster Hunter chatter in our Season Gaming Discord. A lot of people hype for that game, as we know. So cool, Tao. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. We've got a couple from Mr. Don Lionheart here.
Don Lionheart, $5 super chat writes, "Good morning, all. Travis looks like he got a spray tan and is sitting in a room with candlelight, rolling over laughing. Life is Strange double exposure is redacted. Review soon." Yes, as I mentioned at the top of the show, this is my actual skin color. I now have a camera that portrays me as I appear in the real world. It's a big game changer. I understand if it will take some time for you guys to adjust, but this is what I look like. I'm sorry.
But is it how you appear in any mirrors?
Yes.
He doesn't appear in mirrors.
Yeah, I don't appear. Yeah.
Hoag's like, yes, that was the joke.
Yeah, I want to play that double exposure action. Looks good to me.
Yeah, Don's reviewing that for us actually. So that I think
what does he think of it? Break embargo on his behalf.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see soon. But big Life is Strange fan, Don is, as well as Don is the crazy one about Dragon Age, which is related to the next super chat.
Don Lionheart, $5 super chat. These final 11 days before Dragon Age the Veilguard are rough. So close. Also, your bets on Dragon Age the Veilguard score a few weeks ago are 2 peanuts. Still, love you all. I wonder if honestly, he could be going either way with this. He could think that we ranked them way too high or way too low.
He thinks we're too low.
I believe that is balls. I think it's in his message.
They're nuts. Your score a few weeks ago are nuts, nut bags. So yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, Don Lionheart. Not only because I want that game to be good, but also because if it is good, I am by default the closest, and then everyone has to buy me pizza again.
Honestly, we can't do this anymore. I can't afford Travis's San Francisco pizzas.
Were they expensive?
It wasn't cheap.
Really?
Yeah, I send you pizza, wings, and delivery fee. It was like $50.
Okay, yeah. You went all out though, Ains. You bought
Well, I mean, the pizza alone, like with delivery, was like $30.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah. All right, well, we should have like a $20 maximum.
Travis is bankrupting us. I'll get you Domino's next time.
I'll pay everything over the top. They're actually okay. So I actually found a Domino's near me. There is a Domino's near me. I had no idea it was there.
It's a national franchise.
Yeah,
I know, but it's just you're not used to seeing stuff like that here.
I'm gonna call that, place the order, and then so you can walk in and get it, because that way it'll just be $5.99.
Oh, that would be great. That's a good idea. I'm all for making this more economical. Usually delivery is free, so I didn't think that was part of the problem, but I did choose 2, high quality pizza places. So
the part of the problem for me was that you took a jog and weren't at your apartment.
First of all, Dee was supposed to answer the door. I left. I said, "Hey, pizza's coming. Make sure you answer the door." And then she said,
I got a bunch of texts.
"Okay, I'll hop in the shower." And I was like, "Dude, what the?" So anyway,
so both times we ordered you pizza, Hoag and I were getting contacted because you did not answer the door properly.
First, this is a number of texts. No. Angry that we're going to cancel the order.
Just to clarify, the time Ains did it, the guy called Ains and never knocked on the door, so I had no idea.
Called me 3 times. Three times.
I think the moral of the story is that you have to leave my phone number going forward when we order pizzas for each other. Or if I order pizza for you guys, I'm leaving your cell phone numbers because I don't want to get the calls. You know what I mean?
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
They don't knock anymore, by the way. They just stand out front of your house and they call you. I don't know if this is a phenomenon in other places, but in San Francisco, they do not knock on your door. They just call you.
My pizza guy just leaves it on the porch.
Yeah, they knock and leave it.
That's what he ended up doing. For us, Hoag, we did eat the pizza. It was delightful. Thank you very much. And we're all caught up on the pizza bets. So I kind of will feel bad if I win because I will be like, I don't know. We'll just do Domino's, I guess. That'll be fun.
It's weird. We need it to be a 79 because we agreed if it's exactly a 79, you buy pizza for both me and Hoag. But I kind of want it to be like a 90 because I hope the game's really good. So I can't win either way.
I'm with you. I hope it's good. But
the chances of it being a 79 are vastly higher than it being a 90.
I don't think
I mean,
so.
I picked 79, so I tend to agree with you.
I think they're both pretty unlikely, to be honest. I think it's probably going to be mid-80s.
Yeah, I know. That's the vibe I'm getting now, but we'll see. Anyway, it is crazy to think as we're sitting here recording today, we're 11 days from a new Dragon Age. Like it's been a very long time. So I think we're all hoping it's really good. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Don, more than anyone, is hoping it's good. So we'll see. Anyway, a couple more games I just want to mention. So I did put more time. Basically, all my time has been spent on Vessel of Hatred. We've talked about Diablo ad nauseum the past few weeks, so I didn't really want to spend much time on that. But outside of Vessel of Hatred, I did play some more Metaphor. I'm trying to kind of get more and more into it. I think I'm maybe 9-10 hours now. I'm still early, obviously, but I'm enjoying it. The one thing I continue to hope expands a bit, though I don't know it will, is it just feels very linear. Very linear. There's not much for me to go explore or do. You're kind of doing your tasks around the town and, getting items and, then doing your dungeon. And it's very straightforward in that regard so far. Like I said, I'm very early, but I am vibing with the story. I like the characters. Obviously, the writing's good. The art direction is phenomenal. So we'll see. I'm enjoying it, though.
It is very linear, but I would describe it like when you talk about open world game design, like open, like wide versus an open world. It's kind of like wide linear. There'll be different things that you can choose. There's different things that you can play in different orders, but it's definitely like the Persona model, going in a specific direction, and it has to hit their discussion points on specific days. So it is a linear JRPG for the most part. But Metaphor is excellent.
Did you play it more this week? Because last week you said you were 16, 18 hours, something like that into it.
Yeah, I'm at about 28 hours, something like that.
Okay. So this is personal opinion. So far, the whole kind of, aspect of them becoming different things, right? And these archetypes, it's not vibing. The word I'll use is not vibing with me as well as like the whole monster kind of thing from the Persona series that I prefer. But maybe I'm still too early. What's your opinion on that? You liking it better, same, worse?
Yeah, no, it's a different approach. I think the Persona model has some more mixing and matching that is maybe a little bit more intellectually interesting. But there are good elements of the archetype system with the synthesis and having different people in your group and different lineages and things that are explored in a different way than Persona. You definitely need to get further than you are at 9 or 10 hours to see more of the system in play. But it's very good. I think narratively, it's interesting that Persona is essentially about like the different personas that we have, right? The different things that we hide behind, and the masks are a constant refrain in the Persona series. And this is a similar concept, but because it's a fantasy world, because it's different approach to what they're talking about here, archetypes being like, we've lost our ability to recognize what heroes are, and these are the heroes in your heart, versus like the personas that you use to hide yourself from the world, is like a completely different narrative approach to a very similar game mechanic concept. And I think that's really cool. It's almost like the inverse of Persona in some way.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm liking it. Like I said, I need to get further. I've spent way too much time on Diablo, like way too much time. So yeah, we'll see. I was super pumped about this one. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm just, I struggle with JRPGs sometimes. They're just different.
Especially early on, dude. The first 10 hours of every JRPG is just
unbearable. I know. Yeah. I do like a lot of the things the way they're implemented though. Like little niceties, like when you're in a battle and you screw up or you kind of decide something in front of weakness, like being able to restart the battle right while you're in it's really cool. I am a little annoyed. It's got that modern game kind of hand holdiness, where it's like, well, you need to do this, and it's like, all right, I got it, but then it reminds you like 5 times you need to do this in this way, and you can counter this attack with this, and it just keeps coming up, and it's just like, I got it. Let me play the game. It does at times make me kind of yearn for Final Fantasy, 6, where go explore and figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, that is this team's approach, is they say everything, both game mechanically and narratively, like 10 times, which I tend to like. I think they flesh out a lot of the aspects of their game design and their world that way, but it is undoubtedly what some have accused of being slow or pandering, or not pandering, ponderous, and that can work in some ways. It can work not so well in other ways. Certainly, like Aloy or like some other games that we've talked about in this space, They do have the guide character Gallica, the little fairy that comes with you, yelling out things a lot.
Yeah. And I love Gallica. She's awesome, like as a character. But like, stop telling me everything repeatedly. Like, I can play the game.
Stroll's injured. Why we need to heal him.
I don't know why we need to do that in every game now. What is this? Like, let people play the damn game.
I got him. He's gonna die though, but he's gonna die for me to get this last hit. So just leave it be, Gallica.
Every game does it.
It's like Stroll's hurt. Yeah, he needs healing. Like I can see his health bar. It's on the screen.
The worst games for that is virtual reality games. If you guys think that they tell you what to do a lot in regular games, VR games, because there is like a very real possibility that the player has no idea what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
way more like it's like they'll just be like, hey, I should do this, I should do that. You're just like, dude. For those who are like veterans at VR, it's like, yo, luckily usually you can turn it off in VR games because they really know that there's like a very wide span of people's expertise in those games. But VR is like every single game, if there's a chance that you'll forget something, they pop ups and people telling you what to do, and you're just like, yo, shut up. I get it.
Man. But yeah, I'm looking forward to putting more time into it. I'm actually at a boss battle right now. I have it on quick resume on the Xbox, waiting to get back to. So
I'm stuck in a worm's anus. So join me.
What are you doing in the game?
Good timing, Travis.
Oh, good. So what, Travis, you wanted to mention, I think, a VR game.
Yes, I want to mention that
I don't know what you could say.
I basically can't say anything. It's kind of a tease, but I am playing the new Arkham VR game. I'm not reviewing it. My boss Dan Stapleton is doing that, but I'm playing that, and I'm going to be able to talk about it, I assume, next week. I've not looked at the embargo information, but yeah,
I didn't know it was that close to finished. So we're getting 2 Batman Arkhamverse games in 1 year.
That's right. This one takes place in between Arkham 1 and Arkham 2 before the very big change in Arkham City of there being an entire city. And so it kind of tells a story of some of the political strife that was going on during that time. This is all stuff we already know, by the way. And then the villain in this one is the Rat King, which is sometimes portrayed as a joke character in DC and sometimes is portrayed as a very legitimately dangerous anarchist / revolutionary guy, and this one definitely takes the latter approach. Ains, you'll be happy to know that the inspirations for this game include not only the Arkham series of games, meaning that you're doing all the stuff that you would expect in terms of rhythm-based combat and stealth gameplay, but also was inspired by the recent Matt Reeves Batman movie, which they definitely take that tone when it comes to the kind of storytelling and the darkness of it. So excited to talk about that one when I can.
I definitely like that. Yeah, I like that take on the universe, if you will. So cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
So I'll be able to say stuff about it next week, but I've been spending a lot of time with that when I'm not doing Star Wars and reviewing 5 out of 10s and the other stuff.
Is that a Quest exclusive? I can't remember.
I actually don't know, but my guess is yes, based on who gave me the code. So, yeah, I'm gonna guess that it is.
Okay, all right. Before we get to Xbox partner preview and kind of go through those games and what's upcoming, any other things you want to talk about on playing?
I was playing Diablo, Metaphor, and Aeternum, so that's basically my week. But I did want to mention an indie game that slipped through the cracks, even for me, who tries to watch these things come in all the time, but it came out in March. Do you remember a game called The Falconeer?
Yeah, I played it. I played it with the developer. What's his name? I can't remember his name now.
Tomas something.
Yeah, Tomas. He. I sat down with him in LA. I can't remember if it was this summer. I think it was last summer when he was. I played his new game. He made Falconeer. He's got a Bulwark, I think it's called. I sat down and played
the game I was just about to say.
Oh, I played that with him before it came out in LA. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, so Falconeer is a cool little indie project, single player game, single developer made game where you are a person on a falcon, not someone with a falcon that you use to hunt people. It's not that kind of falconeer like real life. You're on a giant dinosaur-sized falcon, and you go around a submerged world and fight things in an almost kind of Crimson Skies kind of game, if that's a not too old of a reference, which I'm sure it is. But Bulwark, which appears to be built off of some of the procedural generation elements that he used to make this world in Falconeer, is a city building game that is really, really interesting. It's really odd. It doesn't use kind of resources in the same way that other city building games do. It uses only distance and number of towers in this submerged world that conveys the resources to various other towers, as it were. But this world is so interesting to look at, and it is kind of procedurally generated as you go. So you are growing a city. It feels like gardening. You hit the button, and a tower pops up, and then houses pop up around it, and then you go back to the resource, and you pick a different tower direction. It is really well done. It's really interesting to play, and because it's so weird in its kind of design, it really works well on console in a way that I can't usually recommend city building games do. So Bulwark came out in March, apparently, but I played it this week. I don't know why I saw it this week, but it is a really weird, interesting game to play. If you liked Falconeer, if you liked that universe, you get to go and do more things in it in a really weird way. So I wanted to at least mention that I've been playing it because I think it's a really cool little thing. And I don't think I heard really anybody talking about it when it came out.
No, it's a pretty quiet release. Yeah, Thomas Sala, who made Falconeer. Yeah, so no, it was me and John Clark over at Xbox Air sat down with him and played that last year when it was before coming out, obviously. And yeah, it seemed to be really cool. There were some cool ideas behind it. So I don't know how it's done for him, but good shout out for sure.
Yeah, and it seems to be getting updated. It might be that it came to my attention because it was in my news feed because it had a major update this week. So you can now like advance your city and attack other civilizations and things like that because it's not really a traditional strategy war game. It's a city builder. But definitely check it out. I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. I really liked Falconeer. I like seeing people try different things, and especially when you can kind of leverage procedural generation and dynamic mission design and make things that feel very full, very, very complete projects like Falconeer and now like Bulwark with only those kinds of efficiencies with one person. So I'm very impressed by this gentleman. I have not played the game with him individually like Ains has, but I do recommend Bulwark and Falconeer if you're in the market for that kind of thing as well. I'm playing that on PlayStation 5.
Okay, yeah, I think it released on everything. Yeah. By the way, Chris Jetzer, sorry, Travis. I was just going to say the Arkham game that Travis was speaking to is a Quest exclusive. He reminded us that Facebook or Meta bought the studio, so it's Meta only.
They snapped up some very talented studios, including Camouflage and the people who made Asgard's Wrath too.
Right,
so
right.
They've got a very good group of folks making games over there.
Cool.
I'll give a shout out to a game that I'm not playing personally, but I'm watching D play, which is the Arsène Lupin game, Once a Thief, which is a puzzle-based investigation game where you're trying to apprehend a thief. If you've played like a Agatha Christie game or something like that, it's kind of in the same vein. Very cool in terms of its aesthetics. You'll hear lots of French accents and
better or worse than New World?
Better accents than New World, for sure.
All right.
Although I'm basing that off of a trailer I've seen because when I played New World, it had almost no voice acting. And
that's hard to believe from what I have played. Yeah. So Aeternum is a different game. It's a different kind of feel.
Yeah. And also this is kind of related to Persona since Joker's Persona is based off of these French investigators, including Arsène Lupin. So that, kind of got some crossover there. It's an interesting game. She's played maybe like 4 or 5 hours, and while I was, working on other stuff, and it seems like it's pretty good. I want to know who. I want to know who done it. I'm trying to find out who done it.
I think that one was higher priced than I'd expected, so I did not go all in on that one.
Makes sense. Yeah. Wait for D's final review. And
okay.
I'll let you know.
Wait for D's review.
Yeah. She needs to get on the show so you guys can grill her also.
All right, cool. The only other thing I really played was the finals, which I've mentioned many times. So season 4, that's going on. I would just, again, it's a free-to-play shooter. There's a lot of content in it now. There's some really interesting things. The gameplay is very unique and interesting. I would continue to recommend that one if you're looking for something new, kind of more competitive to play. It's good. All right. So, we're on Xbox partner preview this week. Got about a dozen or so games that they talked about, which we'll kind of talk through a little bit. So, just kind of have this, I think, in alphabetical order because it was on Xbox Wire. There's a summary of all the games and additional information, interviews with some of the teams as well, including Remedy about FBC Firebreak, which we'll talk about. But first up is Alan Wake 2, The Lake House. I know we mentioned this last week. This actually comes out Tuesday, so we're 2 days away as we're recording this. Are you jumping into this one right away, Hogue?
Oh, absolutely. It's October. Alan Wake 2 was my game of the year last year. I am not super enthused about a control-focused game that takes place simultaneous to the events of Alan Wake 2. I'm not super enthused about what they said about looking at the world of Alan Wake and supernatural and art and creation through the lens of a federal bureaucracy. That's not what gets me out of bed in the morning. But I'm absolutely in for Remedy telling me a story in the Alan Wake universe. And it's very exciting to get a chance to play it. So cool. I hope it's great. I am not holding out hope that it will be, but I hope it is.
Seems they're, and we'll talk about with FBC Firebreak too, but it seems like Control is a big focus for them. Between this expansion, that game, Control 2 as well, they're working on. So
we know they're making Control 2. We know they're working on the Max Payne reboots. I mean, one of the things that I need to say in terms of declaring my tilt and biases here is that Remedy is one of my favorite game developers, one of my favorite storytellers in games. And so I'm very enthused about their projects, but I did not like their storytelling or world building in Control. So the fact that Control and Alan Wake 2 are part of the same universe is, difficult. They put Alan Wake stuff in the DLC to Control. It's no surprise they're putting Control stuff in the DLC to Alan Wake, but I'd rather stick with Alan Wake than Control.
Control is sick, and
in that it's desperately in need of an influx of medicine for its storytelling. Yes.
No, it's awesome, and I will say Control 2 is in desperate need of a subtitle. Would you guys like to offer any suggestions? Control 2, Out of Control.
Yep, Out of Control is the obvious one. And that's where you announce that your new Control game is going to be open world.
Yeah, Hogue, how you your subtitle for Control 2?
My subtitle for Control 2 is We've Got a Story Now.
Okay,
that doesn't flow well.
Yeah, you're fired. Ains,
I got nothing,
please. You got nothing for Control 2?
No. More Control.
It should be called Taking Control.
Control 2, more Control. There.
Yeah. 2 con, 2 troll. What do you think?
Loss of control, says Gentle Stone.
I tried to turn it into a bit. Nobody wanted to engage with me. Hogue just wanted to repeat for the 50th time that he's the only person who thinks Control storytelling was bad, and Ains gave me nothing. This is what I work with, people.
I cannot possibly be the only person that found the Control story almost bereft of storytelling. Giving you documents that explain other things that happened outside the story is world building. It's not storytelling. The plot of Control is god-awful.
I don't think you've mentioned that you didn't like the storytelling in Control recently. Could you do it again?
Sure. I would be happy to, Travis. If Remedy is a great storytelling developer, and they are, then Control is the weakest of the things that they have made from a storytelling perspective in their modern history.
Travis, this is already recorded. You don't have to do that manually.
Oh, no, I'm not recording. I'm just doing something else with my time because I've heard this already and it's a stupid opinion.
We have some subtitles for you. We have Loss of Control, from Gentle Stone. Also Lack of Control from also Gentle Stone. And Google Man offers Control Freak. Then the main character is from a circus.
I like that. That's good. That's good. How about Control? Yeah. She's a freak.
By the way, Fat Boy Horror says, I'm with Hogue on this. There you go. He's not the only one.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Fat Boy Horror indeed.
All right. So we'll see back on Alan Wake 2. We'll see how Lake House is on Tuesday or this week. We'll talk about it next week, obviously. We get dropped during the show was Animal Well, a very popular, highly rated indie game that came out earlier this year, is now on console as well. So this is one I want to play, haven't yet, but sounds like it's a lot of fun. So either of you play this?
Yes, I have. To me, Animal Well is more of a journalistic darling than something that I really feel connected well with me or with the other people that I've heard played this in my circle. It is a very puzzle focused kind of Tunic, or I'm trying to think of the other games in this genre of indie games where nothing is explained to you and you have to kind of figure out how these various aspects of the game actually work. And it's pretty. It has a very unique graphic style, but it is not my vibe, to steal Ains's word, for these kinds of games.
Okay. Well, so Alex agrees with you. He says Animal Well is vastly overrated. We also have Alex Dies Twice. He said Hogue is right. Control is mid. We have a bunch of Control haters in here.
Control, right?
Alex, I hope you die a third time. I want that name changed to Alex Dies Thrice next time or next episode.
It's gonna change to Alex Kills Travis.
Yeah.
The thing about Control is it's by far their most complete kind of combat set. I understand the people that love gameplay and really going for Control, but because the Alan Wake 2 DLC is going to be the Alan Wake 2 survival horror gameplay, which I like, but is not as dynamic as Control's, then it's going to be the worst of both worlds. It's the Federal Bureau of Control storytelling with the less dynamic gameplay of the Alan Wake 2 universe. So I don't know why this is something that should excite people, but I'm happy to play more Alan Wake 2, and I hope it's great.
We shall see. By the way, we have another subtitle. We have Time saying remote control. Control 2 remote control. All right. We got a game called Blind Fire, which is developer Double 11. So this is an FPS that went into preview on, I believe, Steam and Xbox preview programs during the show. So you can play this now. It's only $8, I believe. It is a FPS where the trick, if you will, is that it's you kind of use echolocation. So like sound is incredibly important. So you're not like just running around shooting. You're basically trying to pick up where enemies are in the environment by hearing where they are, and basically killing them before you kill you. I actually have this game. I have it loaded up. I just haven't played it yet. So hopefully I can talk a little more about it next week.
Cool.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys don't. That's probably not anything.
I'll play that. That sounds sick. I just don't know.
It looks cool. I like the video for it. So we also got Chronos: The New Dawn, which is Bloober Teams. They announced their new IP coming fresh off of Silent Hill 2 remake. Chronos: The New Dawn. It takes place in both 1980s communist Poland and a futuristic wasteland following a pandemic known only as the Change. We'll see what they do here.
Bloober Team, right, which I had said was not one of my favorites, and I said that Silent Hill 2 beat my expectations for that. So much so, actually, that I wound up buying a game this week that you had mentioned last week, Ains, and I forgot to mention that I played this week because that's how little it hooked me. But I played the Layers of Fear. I played the Layers of Fear game that in some ways put Bloober on the map, and I am once again back to I'm just not sure about this company. So Silent Hill 2, I have enjoyed a lot. I do think it's maybe a little bit bloat-goaty in the way that they have expanded the Silent Hill 2 pacing. But I am not kind of ready to be enthused about one of their projects until I get a chance to actually play it.
Okay. I'm excited. I like quirky horror games. Bloober, I would never say their games are 9s or 10s or anything like that. I haven't played Silent Hill 2 remake yet. But I've liked their game. So I'm interested in this. I hope it feels like if you look at the way their games have evolved, they've gotten a little more competent as time goes on. I think anyway, in terms of their delivery. So we'll see. New IP's fun. It's supposed to be coming next year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it's a different kind of environment. 1980s communist country having some kind of supernatural event happen is an interesting take.
Yeah,
but it is, of course, an interesting take that we're also going to get a little bit of later this year, right, with Stalker 2. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much communist country dealing with supernatural issues I can take, but we'll see.
Stalker 2, by the way, previews out last week and very strong. Everyone I've talked to has played that game and previewed it, saying it's excellent and even surprisingly so.
Well, it's hard to be mean to the Ukrainians on this.
It's hard to be what?
Hard to be what?
Mean. It's hard to be overly critical about whatever they deliver with Stalker 2. So I think it's a unique circumstance where we kind of have to wait until we can play it ourselves. But again, I'm a critical reader on this stuff. Yeah, I looked at the Stalker 2 previews, and a lot of them it's a little bit mechanically clunky, but it's still amazing that it got out. And it's like, well, that's fine. Yes, it is amazing that they're releasing a game at all, but I'm going to have to see how it actually feels to play.
At all. But I think I don't think any of the people I know would have a problem saying there are problems with the game if it has problems. I will say the previews usually aren't the place to find that. So yeah, wait till reviews, but I don't think you have to wait to play it. That's not.
Yeah, we'll see.
I understand. You sell reviews, Travis. I get that.
I also know about reviews and how they work and who writes them. I'm a little more informed.
Previews or reviews?
Reviews.
Oh, okay. There is the documentary too. If you weren't aware, there is a hour and a half documentary on from the studio about making of Stalker 2 and what they've gone through in making this game. So that's out as well. You can check that out. So,
yeah, I've been following this for a while. I will say this is a studio that, in addition to just having the problems that they've had, they've also delayed this game a bunch for reasons that are not
several times
necessarily related to what's going on, because they are working out of Prague, most of their team now. And they're one of those studios that will just delay a game as many times as it takes until it's at a point where they like it. So I have quite a bit of faith that this one's going to end up hitting pretty hard, but we'll see. And yeah, I can't wait to play this one.
Yeah,
it is weird. It is weird how many communist Russia supernatural games there are, though, just in general. And I think it's because a lot of them spawned from the same studio. Like I can't remember the
same studio.
Yeah, it was like Metro and like some other game, and like they split and then split again. So there's like all these studios that like were working on the same types of games, and they all are like their own studios now. So there's like a lot of weird overlap. I think one of them became like Dying Light or something. I'm probably butchering the history here, but it's like a lot of these studios had like common histories, which is a little weird. So anyway,
we also got a game called Eden Zero. I know nothing about this, but it says it's based on the hero Mashima manga and the anime series of the same name, Eden Zero, third-person action game. You guys know anything about this?
No,
do not.
Okay, well there you go. 3 uninformed people bringing you games.
When is that coming?
Next year, 2025. It says set in the unique sci-fi universe of the manga, you'll take hero, is that Shiki Granbell, across the universe in search of the cosmic entity Mother. Mother.
Is it like saying that the universe is called the manga, or do you mean it's from a universe that originated in a manga? Like
yes,
Japanese.
The latter. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I've never heard of it. It's not my realm, but there you go. Eternal Strands is one I know you can talk about, Travis. So Eternal Strands, you did the preview of for IGN, or the first, maybe?
IGN first. Yeah, I announced that game. That's kind of fun. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So we got an updated look at that. Also the announcement that they've signed a deal to bring it to Game Pass at launch. So that will launch on Game Pass, which is pretty cool.
It's a great opportunity for them. I think the biggest challenge Eternal Strands faces is that a lot of people might just not play it. But it is one of those games where if you try it, it does a lot of cool and interesting stuff. And I think if people give it a try, assuming the game turns out good, right? I played a very early version that, I had to look away from certain aspects of it because it was in such early production. But assuming that they nail what they're going for, I think the biggest hurdle will be getting it into players' hands and giving them a chance to try it. So I think Game Pass could be huge for them. Hopefully we'll get a lot more people playing it. And then hopefully when they play it, people fall in love with this goofy, weird idea that you can crawl over monsters and light things on fire and toss yourself in the air with telekinetic powers. It's very cool. Very cool, kind of sandboxy feeling combat that I quite enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, it says there's kind of descriptions of each of these games on Xbox Wire, right? And this one says action RPG from team of developers who previously worked on Dragon Age, Assassin's Creed, so other big titles. Unique magic system, to your point, in-depth crafting system, and huge climbable bosses. So let's see. But also, to your point, Game Pass, at least there's going to be a lot of people trying it.
Yeah. Also 2D characters for the what do you call those things? Like in Hades, where when you talk to somebody, like a 2D art comes out and they have a little dialogue, so it's got like a little bit of a visual novel vibe to it. Too.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of cool.
All right. Cool.
I'm into that.
Yeah, so that one looks cool. And then, of course, our cover story for the week was FBC Firebreak. So going back to Remedy, this is they unveiled their first look at this game, which is a spin-off of Control, first-person multiplayer PvE game, placing you in the ranks of the Federal Bureau of Control's agents, take on the horrors of the oldest house using variety of appropriately weird weaponry. Co-op experience. So arrives next year, 2025, and is also launching on Game Pass. So pretty big announcement there too.
Travis,
looks like 3-player co-op, I believe.
Travis, I'm just curious about this. So you've pilloried me for not liking the Control story. This describes you as being in the ranks of the Federal Bureau of Control's agents. Can you name a single agent other than the main character of Control in the game Control?
Interesting. In the game Control. Let's see. When did that game come out? 2019. So it's been 5 years since I played it.
5 years.
I don't know if I can remember any character's name from a game I played 5 years ago. Frankly. Okay. So
John Halo.
No. John Halo. Yeah.
John 313.
I don't. Yeah. I honestly don't. I don't remember the detail. I'll probably have to replay that game. I will say I understand people's hesitation to a game like this, and I'm sure you have every right to be hesitant because it's going to be a weird departure from what they normally do, but you got to let developers make games they want to make. And sometimes when developers do stuff that is not their forte, we get really cool shit. Obsidian made a survival game a couple years ago called Grounded. Not the type of game I expected to ever see from them, and it was one of my favorite games. It's probably one of my favorite games this gen. I love that game so much, and think about it all the time. By the way, I think I'm going to start replaying it like this holiday. So yeah, I say let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice on this. Could be terrible, could be amazing. It's a good studio.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, okay, cool. I'll try it. Being on Game Pass helps. Alex noted it's also on PS Plus Extra, or I guess Premium, right? One of those two tiers. We'll launch in that. But yeah, we'll see. I will admit, looking at it, reading about it, I was getting Redfall vibes. But we'll see. I hope they deliver something fun.
Sometimes you get Redfall. Sometimes you get an Unknown 9 Awakening. But sometimes you get a Grounded. You get something cool.
Yeah, we'll see. And the funny thing is, right, I think they know there's going to be certain people of the Remedy fan base like Pogue who aren't necessarily into this thing. So they made sure to call out, like there's an interview with them on Xbox Wire of Thomas Puha, their lead communications director and the game director, basically saying, like, we have multiple projects in the works, like Control 2 is coming. There's other things coming. Like, this is like just another game they're making. So
it's always a sign of strength when you're like, we got other stuff in the cooker. Don't freak out, guys.
Don't freak out that this could be bad.
There's a certain level of anticipation of like every time this happens, anytime any studio does anything that's a departure from what they've always done, people freak out and they say, but my game, but this, you're not making the same game that I liked a second, third, fourth time. And then they always have to say, well, we're not completely changing as a studio. We're just doing what creatives do, which is we're being creative and we're trying new stuff. And you always have to kind of hedge your bets because people are not super accepting of studios trying new stuff. They just want you to pump out sequels.
I want you to pump out greatness. So if this is great, fantastic. I'll be there. You know I will. I'm just not going to sit here and hype for something that is very unlikely to be great, in my opinion. So, yeah, we've got a game. I believe
unlikely? What are you basing that on? Your gut?
What am I basing this on? It's a spin-off of a spin-off in a genre that I'm not interested in that has a trailer that doesn't look interesting with no hook. So that's what I'm basing it on.
Okay.
I do think, given the vibe on this show of Control and this debate around just Remedy and multiplayer and new experience, and this is 3-player co-op, I think it's time that we do the 3-player co-op stream of this when it launches.
You guys always set this up and then you complain about when I go to bed. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, you are going to have to stay up past 8 to play, but come on, we can do it.
It's not 8. But you keep trying to contact me at like 10 p.m.
What time do you go to bed? Let's do bedtime talk. Who here has a regular bedtime where they go to sleep like consistently? Hogue, you strike me as
recently had a medical event that is trying to be controlled.
Okay. I wasn't asking for excuses. What's your bedtime, bro?
9:30.
9:30 p.m. Oh my god, that is crazy. What time do you wake up?
Even better, that's 6:30 for you because you're.
I know, dude.
So we will. We'll have to play on a Sunday. We'll play on a Sunday.
Wait, Hogue, is that a new bedtime for you? Is that normal?
That is a post-stroke bedtime for me.
Hey, we're done with the bedtime talk. We're moving on.
I know. Wait, no, Ains, I haven't even gotten to you yet. So before your stroke, what was your bedtime? And did you have one, or did you just kind of play fast?
No, it was not a bedtime before the stroke, but again, had a stroke. It was like 11 or midnight.
Always with the stroke. Ains, what's your bedtime, dude? What time do you go to bed? Do you have a hard bedtime?
No, usually around 1.
Yeah. You just call it. You just call it when it happens. On weekdays, you're going to bed at 1.
On weekdays, usually.
What time you wake up for work?
Anywhere from 6:30 to 8, depending on if I'm working at home or what I got scheduled. Yeah,
that's good, man. So sometimes you're getting good sleep, sometimes you're not.
Yeah, I go to bed early, like once a week. You know what I mean? You get that 9 p.m. catch-up day, but otherwise,
that's like okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't get that day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry,
moving
I'm
on.
seasoned here on Seasoned Gaming.
This is we got
Sunday afternoon
here.
Sunday afternoon stream. We're do it. Mark your calendars. FBC Firebreak. We're doing this.
Well, you got to avoid the Lions game then.
Wait, it's this Sunday?
No, it doesn't come out till next year.
I was about to say, what the hell? How does he already know what football game is playing at that time?
The Lions play Sundays at 1 almost all season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
wow,
that's fine. That's fine. We'll work it out. All right, moving on. So another small game here, Legend of Babu, action adventure game with a dog called Babu. Sure, it's there. Check it out. Yeah, okay. I don't know anything about this.
So close to making it more interesting by making it a baboon.
No, but just Babu. Yes, you got to stop it. We did get to see more Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. So some naval battles there. Obviously, that's coming out in the crazy week of February where like 9 games are releasing now. So they did move, though. I think they the ones that announced they moved a week forward to get away from Monster Hunter Wild?
I don't know.
Did you see that?
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was them. Some game came out and basically said, yeah, we're getting away from Monster Hunter Wild, and they're releasing like a week earlier. I'm pretty sure it's Like a Dragon.
I think we've seen too much of that Yakuza game.
Yeah,
Even
just
its
let it come
reveal
out.
trailer was like 10 minutes of content. Like I felt like I watched the entire content of that game and story based on that trailer.
Oh,
I
know
feel
that's
like
not true.
we needed to check in with Dan on this. You know,
Oh, this is going to be a fantastic game, and Dan is all in. I am sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
yeah.
doubt.
Mine,
I'm
Pirates,
also all
which
in.
you know I love, and the Yakuza series, which I obviously love. So this is going to be fantastic.
What? How do you like Pirates, Hogue? Can you remind me again?
Yes.
What is it about Pirates that you like?
I don't want to have to mute both of you. The show will get very boring.
There's a lot of pirates in New World Aeternum, which you heard me discuss earlier.
Great.
And of
What
course,
else?
there's a lot of pirates in Skull and Bones.
I've never played it. Tell me about it.
I will tell you about Mistfall Hunter. A little bit.
Okay.
So this
Go
is supposedly a mix of Souls-like and Extraction game with mages that you will fight monsters and men in a mysterious new fantasy world.
I love
That's
how
what,
you said.
that's what it says on the tin.
The way you said
I don't know.
You said monsters and men. Like you were like you
Well,
were,
because I read it and I'm like, oh, it's just men. Okay.
no,
men.
I felt like you were like raising the stakes on me. Like, let us hunt the most dangerous game, man. You know, it was like one of those. Like, it's really good. I like that a lot.
It wasn't even intentional, but it did come across that way. So there you go, Mistfall Hunter. And the way they described this made it sound like the game I talked about, Witchfire, which excellent game. I'll continue to recommend it. So I don't know what they're going for here, but we'll see more of this in the future, I'm sure. The one I've really liked the look of, just because I love different things like this, is Mouse PI for Hire. So this is the one that's black and white FPS, looks like basically an old school Mickey Mouse cartoon, but you're running around shooting
things. I
things.
didn't hear anybody say Mickey.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say it. What, we'll get copyrighted, whatever.
Say Steamboat Willie.
It's just
Steamboat
a generic
Wally.
cartoon mouse with a Tommy gun. I don't know what to tell you.
It's a Steamboat Willie cartoon. You can say that. That's public domain, homies.
But this looks great, man. I've really been interested in this ever since I first saw it. I hope it's good. They've taken a while to build this out. This got announced like a year and a half ago, well, a while ago. So coming next year.
Travis review game, personally.
Cool. Let's do it.
I think I'm gonna end up on that one.
I'll review it with you.
Cool.
Yeah,
next year?
that looks fun. Yeah, it just says 2025. They still don't have a date
that'll
for
get
it.
Delayed.
So. Yeah. So, Phasmophobia, which is a popular horror game that released on Steam, I believe, was it earlier this year or last year? It's been a little while. That's coming to console on October 29th here, so next week and a half from now. And that is a very highly rated co-op horror game. So Xbox and PlayStation finally get that just before Halloween. Subnautica 2. Is it you, Ho, who has talked a lot about Subnautica, or am I misremembering?
A good game.
Subnautica is my favorite of the survival crafters.
Okay. All right. So we got the updated look at Subnautica 2. It's launching into Xbox Game Preview next year in 2025. Also confirmed that this one will have co-op as well. So I don't know much about Subnautica. I have not played it. So what do you think?
I'm not interested in playing it co-op, and I'm definitely not going to play it in game preview. So it'll be a little bit longer for me. But I love Subnautica 1.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it says co-op mode. So I don't know if it's a separate thing.
Survival games having co-op is kind of like a staple. So I could see that ended up being good. The description of it being a mode does make me scratch my head a little bit. But yeah, I could see this game being deserving of a sequel. It's not my favorite survival game, but it is a very good one. So I'd like to give it another try, another spin.
You're gonna just leave us hanging there, Travis? What's your favorite survival crafter game?
Minecraft. Followed closely by Grounded, probably. Minecraft is hard to beat, man. I mean, that game is.
Dude, I saw someone posted a clip yesterday on Twitter of a Minecraft, modded with all sorts of stuff. It looked like freaking Cyberpunk. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Minecraft goes so incredibly hard. And every time I think I'm done playing it, somebody comes out with something, or they update or add like a mob or whatever, and then I just end up spending like 200 hours in it. It's like I never played it before. It's crazy how much you can get sucked into that game.
But yeah, Subnautica 2. So it feels like they've been working on that one for a while. So we'll see what hopefully that lives up to the first one. A couple other games to talk about. We got Wheel World, which was previously known as Ghost Bike. So Wheel World sees you retrieving and fixing the last of the ghost bikes. As are we supposed to know?
Ghost Bike is a better title.
I think you're right.
I like Wheel World.
Do you?
I do not.
Yeah, it's a world of wheels. It makes me think.
Well, it says
I'm
mixing
on wheels forever.
It says mixing open world exploration as you repair and upgrade your bike with the treasures you find and races set across the map. It's a game designed to be taken at your own pace, all set. I love this point. All set to an original soundtrack from artists on the Italians Do It Better music label. Wheel World, day one on Game Pass when it launches in early 2025.
Are we fighting monsters or man on this one? What are we doing?
No idea.
What are we doing on our wheels?
Sounds like you're just cruising around an open world looking for stuff. It says open world exploration.
Was that thing about the music label in the press release, Ains?
Yeah, this is directly from Xbox Wire. Yes. Yeah. All this info I have here is from Xbox Wire. So we'll see. I don't know. The trailer's out there if you want to check it out. Obviously, one of the ones that I'm most interested in, I know people are soulsed out at some degree, but Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. We got the first look at this at the Xbox showcase in the summer. We saw an updated look at it here. It looks, to me anyway, it looks very cool. I love the kind of horror themed aesthetic that it's going for here, and that arrives next year as well. So pumped about that one. Hope it plays well.
I'll play it.
So that was Xbox partner preview. I don't know about your guys' thoughts overall on the show. There's not a ton here that I'm like incredibly excited for, I would say, but I do like the show design. I like your
design too. I think they're running too many shows. I think it feels like every little while there's an Xbox show, and their design is strong, and I like the way they've structured their shows, but I am not going to invest in watching every single one of these. And so I think they have to reconsider how they put them together.
So your complaint is they're actually showing too much or too often now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're big, meaty shows with a lot of content, but they're too often.
Too many games.
Well, there are games,
says Richard Hogue.
I mean, there are too many games. I think that, I don't know if I'd say too often or not. I don't really have an opinion on that piece, but I know that, we talked a lot about some of the show formats that Xbox had attempted to do in the past few years, like the Twitch one they did a couple times, which I haven't talked to anyone who liked that format. And I do think what they've struck here with the partner preview of just letting the games mostly speak for themselves with partners, third-party partners, or even second-party, Game Pass deals, I think is good. So that's fine. Yeah. I would say for me, I don't know about you guys, for me, the game I'm probably most excited for, and this is just because being a horror fan and I actually like Bloober, is Chronos, the New Dawn. I'm excited about that one. But I wouldn't say there's anything that's...
Man. How many games are we going to have that word in? Chronos. I feel like that's
and
title. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I obviously...
No more Titans named.
Yeah, you got Chronos, the New Dawn. It takes place in 2 time periods. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of play on that, right? But it's just like, okay. I just hope it's good. But anyway, anything else from that show you want to touch on or talk about?
No, I wanted a Lake House date. I got one. We knew it was October, so they were running out of days.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be playing it this week. We'll talk about it next week. So should be good. See how long it is. You never know how long those kind of little expansions are going to be. It could be an hour and a half, or it could
short.
It could be
standards.
Yeah, a couple hours. Couple things to call out here. Super chat for you, Travis.
I'm a pretend judge. Has a $4.99 super chat that says, just got Steam Deck and I'm enjoying Dave the Diver. Any other
really enjoying
that play well?
I recommend UFO 50. I talked about it a couple episodes ago, but it's an excellent bang for your buck and works really well on the Steam Deck.
Very cool. Dave the Diver.
What's the one where you're riding a bike and you're a mother fox wolf? That game's good on Steam Deck.
What?
What's that game? You're riding a motorcycle. Somebody gets their intestines ripped out and hung by them.
Does that sound like I'm enjoying Dave the Diver?
What is that game? It's very good, though. I think it appeals to the same player. despite my description of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right, you do that. But I'm a pretend judge. Thank you for the super chat. And a shout out to Sandy gifting 5 Hogue Law memberships. Thank you, Sandy.
Okay.
I want to know, Ains.
Leica.
Yeah.
Aged Through Blood. I recommend that game on Steam.
In your mind, what is the difference between giving and gifting? You corrected yourself there.
I know. I just corrected myself because of what's on the screen.
Okay.
Same thing. Yeah. Yep.
He just felt peer pressure from the screen to read their words verbatim.
That's it.
He's a follower. He's a bit of a follower, that Ains. Not a rebellious spoon in his body.
I've gotten old, man. Yeah. So the only other thing I want to mention today, as we've talked about a bunch of games, is Surgent Studios. So you may remember them from Tales of Kenzera, Zao. They announced that they've been put on redundancy notice. So, they had previously announced that they are working on their next project. A couple quotes from the studio head there saying, "We've decided to put the work of the Surgent Games division on hiatus while we secure funding for our next project. In the meantime, we've unfortunately had to put our team on notice for redundancy. Our team has created a prototype for this bold new project. It's darker, edgier, more visceral than our first game, but it retains all of Zhao's high-octane combat and cultural depth. We're looking for a partner." So I think we talked about at the time when Zhao released, because I did play that one at release too, that, pretty highly regarded. It wasn't stellar, but it was, generally good, I would say, regarded, but it didn't seem to kind of make the waves they were hoping or sell to the level they were hoping. And here they are basically announcing that they could be in trouble unless they find a partner for this next studio game. So,
well, it's Zhao. I think I've said that before in this space, but it was a game I was really looking forward to. I really think Lost Crown ate its lunch. They were released very, very much in the same time frame.
And Zhao wasn't as good.
It's not as good as Lost Crown. And so that's just the unfortunate fact of markets and release dates. But I like Zhao quite a lot. I went back to it recently, this month, I think even, maybe a month ago. And it's a good game. It deserves to succeed. But I also think it was funded and published in part by EA Originals, right?
It was.
EA doesn't know what they're doing with that label. Like they funded and helped to make a lot of good games that those studios are then left to the wastes and have to figure out their own way forward. And I think this is that again.
Yeah, the EA Originals label has been a weird one. It's kind of has been all over the place. I like the idea of it, of course. Yeah, their games haven't been bad by any stretch of the imagination. They've had some hits.
I think they have a good track record of which games they fund and end up on that program. We got It Takes Two.
Takes Two is probably their most successful. That got announced. It's past 20 million sold. Did you see that?
It was Game of the Year. You know what's funny is I'll still get people like non-gamers or like ultra casual gamers who bring that game up to me like, oh, my wife and we're not really into games, but like we're playing that one. So like that game has broken through, I think, the lexicon of like gamers into I think people play it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Really well done. So I know Joseph Ferris was talking about, they're ramping up to show their next project. Wouldn't surprise me if we see it at the Game Awards, given the history there. So we'll see.
He does like that.
Yeah. So we'll see on Zhao. You're right. You're totally right about Lost Crown. Absolutely amazing game. If you're into that genre, Lost Crown was stellar. So the only other thing that kind of got announced this week is PlayStation, stretching their PC reigns further. So Spider-Man 2, Hogue's story of 2023, is coming to PC in January with all the normal kind of stuff you expect on PC, right? Ultra wide support, the features that you expect on PC. So PlayStation continuing their kind of stretch, post-release on the console over to the PC world. But
they're looking for money anywhere they can find it. But yeah, I think the big announcement from at least my social media circle was that Insomniac, as part of this, said that there's not going to be any DLC when there was DLC for Spider-Man 1. And again, I don't think that's any loss to the world, because I don't think Spider-Man 2 was one of Insomniac's better efforts, but it is still notable that they aren't going forward with any DLC for their game that was obviously very popular on the PlayStation.
Yeah. And of course, it didn't hit me until getting ready for the show, but we're like, 2.5 weeks away from the PS5 Pro actually releasing. It's like November 7th, right? So, I don't know. We'll see what PlayStation's ramping up in that regard, or how that kind of compares their pro upgrades to what they're doing on the PC side. So
Election Day and the PS5 Pro in the same week. Get ready for disappointment, America.
I don't know if I would say that. We'll see. What was I going to say?
Get ready for disappointment, Japan. Is that more apt?
Pick a different country. Yeah. Anyway, this week we get, we've already talked about Lake House multiple times. We get, whether you like it or not, we get the biggest release of the year this week too, which is Black Ops 6, releases on Friday. So I would probably assume are you going to play that at all, Travis?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
It's on Game Pass, right?
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm going to be playing it.
Let's do some zombies.
I'd be down for that. Yeah, I'd probably enjoy that. I played the beta. I've already commented on the show. The multiplayer
shooting Zimbles
really my thing.
In their face.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. It's this is the first Call of Duty we're getting in a few years that has been part of the original scope and plan for their release, right? Because they kept shuffling things all over the place for a couple of years. So this one should be kind of the fully featured package that more traditional Call of Duty package, zombies, full campaign, multiplayer, etc. But
I will wait for the review that establishes that the campaign is 5 minutes long or whatever time they think they can get away with now. Then I will say, okay, I'll put that in my back pocket of another thing to not care about. But if it gets better than that, I will play it. I enjoyed Call of Duty for a while in the middle of its kind of popularity, but they haven't delivered what I'm interested in playing in a first-person shooter in a long time.
To be fair, they also haven't really delivered what other players have been wanting. I mean,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, the review scores for Call of Duty have been pretty bad. They're almost getting to the point of like Madden, games and the big sports games that have just been sort of letting it slide for lots of years.
Travis, you say that, and you're talking about reviews and review scores. They're still, Madden included, the most popular, highest-selling games in gaming. So they appear to be meeting players where they live.
They're selling, but they're also leaning into like meager expectation from the player. Just because they bought it doesn't, like, from my perspective, all I hear people who buy those games is them complaining more and more every year. They still buy it. They still spend all their time with it, but they complain more aggressively and start talking more and more about like how, I'm not going to buy the next one and stuff like that. So like they're buying, but they're unhappy customers is my impression from everyone I know who plays these games.
It's a culture thing. Call of Duty it's just, you buy it because you have friends that play it. And I can't tell you just anecdotally how many people I know who buy this game to play with friends who either like only play Call of Duty, or you have the people that only play Madden or FIFA, right? Or football club. They only play football club. And it's part of the annual release culture now. It's like, you're going to buy this year's Call of Duty, even if you're going to. By the way,
the people that review these games for IGN are those players that play every year and are like really disgruntled with how it is. And they're like, FIFA mains. The guy who like reviews FIFA for us is like super into FIFA, plays that game like exclusively, and then also just is so upset with what's been happening to the franchise. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but I do think you face a tipping point where like you've burned your players so bad, you really open yourself up to when the next big, cultural touch point comes along, that they'll immediately grab onto that and leave your game. And so I think it's a dangerous,
like Star Wars, but you use review scores to defend Star Wars. And so it's the same kind of thing. You have people on the ground actually experiencing their products, and you can lose the faith of your consumer market, regardless of the review scores, whether they're good or bad.
I don't know if I understand your point, if there is one, but yeah, I think review scores are from normal people, so typically they align with what a lot of people feel. So there's a real shot for Call of Duty to be in trouble, is my point. It's a dangerous position to be in, especially since there's a lot of good competition in that space right now.
I expect this to be the highest selling Call of Duty in some time.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
And who knows? It could also be a good game. I'm just saying the trend has not been great for the franchise.
Yeah. I mean, Black Ops, as we've said, Black Ops is the most popular subtitle, I don't know, genre within the game, in Call of Duty. It's also the first Call of Duty launching on Game Pass, which for at least from an Xbox side will be pretty interesting to see what that does in terms of sales on the one platform. So because you remember you can play that on PC as well, right? So it's like, you know, there's going to be the people who buy it on Steam or whatever, but you can play it on PC just through Game Pass as well. So we'll see. Just a quick shout out to
cuts into its numbers too, by the way.
No, that was my point
of it. Yeah.
Like I don't, it's kind of hard to read what this one's going to do. I have no doubt that the player base is going to be unbelievably high. So just a quick shout out to Cherry Mills, remembering up on Hoag's side of the house. Thank you, Cherry. Sorry, Travis, go ahead.
I'm going to say, do you think the player base will be predominantly Xbox?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the player base on Call of Duty is strong on everything, right? And they kind of cross-play is part of it. They kind of mix and match everything. Black Ops is going to be very popular kind of comeback. A lot of people are looking forward to this one. It's got the new movement system. Like I said, though, to your earlier point, Travis, about like the games have been kind of, I don't want to say mid, but they haven't really lived up to the Call of Duty expectation, at least in the past few years. But that's really primarily because of stuff going on behind the scenes, where they had this plan. They planned these games years in advance, and basically that plan got all kind of shuffled, and the studios were mixing and matching stuff. That's why you got this weird kind of fake campaign in Modern Warfare 3, and you got the reused maps and all this stuff. But this one is supposed to be kind of, this has been in development for years, Treyarch, and it's supposed to be kind of back to what you expect. So we'll see.
Maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We got Debbie Dubs in the house.
Debbie Dubs offers $10 and writes, the 20th anniversary patch for World of Warcraft launches on Tuesday. Looking forward to the remastered Tier 2 sets, Judgment, etc., and the Tier 2 style sets for classes that didn't exist at the time. It's very in the weeds World of Warcraft post, but I respect it, Dub.
I do as well. Yeah, we've got a couple of people at SG that are big WoW players, Debbie. So I'm sure they'll know what you're talking about here. I don't know what you're talking about, but I hope that if you're a big player of WoW, obviously that game has had its ups and downs. As I understand it, anyway, it seems to be in a very good place right now. So I hope it's good.
Is this the first video game with a 20th anniversary patch? I'm curious.
It's gotta be.
Games have had 20th anniversaries, but I don't know. There for sure hasn't been an ongoing game for more than 20 years. So yeah, this might be a pretty big milestone.
Yeah. Even to Hoag's point, I don't think anyone's ever come out and said the game's 20 years old. We're updating it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, they've done like the game's 20 years old. We're remastering it and stuff like that, which is kind of in the same vein. But like, yeah, this is literally the same game with people who've had subscriptions for 20 years. That's crazy.
Googleman says Anarchy Online is older. I don't even know what that is, unless I've forgotten what that is.
But I didn't hear about their 20th anniversary. Googleman. So
maybe you should
Google. What was their
it.
20th anniversary patch like? Tell me that, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, Deb, I hope it's good, and thank you as always for the super chat. I think that's good about wrap us up, boys. We're not going to blow goat it this week.
Oh, well,
yeah. We're just that good at running a professional operation.
That's it. We've got it down to a science now. We'll never go over 2 hours again. That's a lie. So on the Season Gaming side of the house, I'll just quickly shout out, check out the Never review from Lewis. That's up both on the channel and on the site. And like Don super chatted in earlier, he's working on the Life is Strange Double Exposure review. We will also obviously be talking a lot about upcoming on Black Ops 6 and Dragon Age and those games. I think that's really kind of the big stuff on our side of the house. Yeah. So I'll pass it over to you, Travis. What you got?
Let me see. I'm looking at my IGN review schedule here to see what my next review is. But you can read my review of Unknown 9 Awakening on IGN.com. You can... I can't talk about that. I'll talk about Batman next week, and I have doing another preview I can't talk about right now. And then, what else? What's my next review? I think it might be. We're not reviewing.
I like that you ask us.
We're not reviewing Date Everything, which I just want to say right now, like, that's a shame. It's a damn shame.
Does that have a release date?
Yeah, it's October 24th.
I was gonna say
All
I
right.
saw someone writing about it already.
Yeah.
Something.
All right, I'm in on
So-
Date Everything. That's not
Hell
multiplayer,
yeah.
but I'm in.
Hell yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna definitely play that one. But
That's
I'm not
this week
reviewing
too. You guys gonna be ready to talk about it next Sunday?
it. Yeah, dude.
I'm
We're
definitely
gonna
gonna play that game.
yeah. Hogan and I are gonna
Okay.
come into this podcast holding hands to talk about Date Everything next week. So get ready.
I do miss the fact that Hogue does not scratch your back anymore.
yeah,
This
it's pretty
setup doesn't,
upsetting. Pretty
maybe I'll move
upsetting,
myself to the bottom and we'll switch it around.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I think my next review is Path of Exile 2.
oh
So
yeah,
that's a while off. I think it's November.
that's November 15th.
Yeah, so I'll probably be reviewing it like the week or 2 weeks before, so early November. So I'm kind of off the hook. I'm just doing some preview stuff right now. I got a trip to another country pretty soon for a game I'll
Yes,
talk
you
about
do.
later. Good times. Video games. Oh, what do you got?
Path of Exile 2, huh? I hope to
Oh,
come
I'm
around on
pumped.
Vessel of Hatred again at some point. I did a video this week about Ubisoft and fighting off potential acquisition. I did it on my channel, which you can watch. I also did one on Last Stand Media, where I discussed the issue with Gene Park of the Washington Post and Colin Moriarty. You can check out that conversation. That is paywalled, I believe, if you want to go check that out, but it is available. And there's a lot of interesting stuff about the world of acquisitions and fending off potential buyouts in a public company like Ubisoft. So I think it's a good video. Come visit the channel to see it. Otherwise, that's about the pace I've been doing. I've been doing about a video a week in addition to
Not
my
bad.
appearances at Last Stand
Yeah.
Media and, of course, the Bitcast. So we're getting our groove back to some extent. But it's a long road, and I appreciate everybody that has been on it with me. So thank you for being at the channel. Thank you for watching this Bitcast for 2 full hours. And I will try to keep making content for you,
There you
but
go.
not for Travis, to be clear.
I've heard that movie's
Wouldn't
gonna be a
watch it
banger
anyway.
too. How Hogue got his groove back.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. There you go.
Hogue 2 out of control.
You just deliver the video clip to Amazon, Travis, and tell them that Hogue likes their live service game.
I will make sure to do that, and
Yeah.
then I'll follow up with the part where I said I would
Sell your stock before doing that. It will collapse. Yeah.
That's
The
right.
good
Yeah,
news about Amazon is that even if the gaming division did collapse, it wouldn't take down Amazon.
it's true.
No.
And I don't
Absolutely
think
not.
they wouldn't feel any pressure to take down the game even. Which is it's good. There's stability in that.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, but Aeternum is good. Play it. Check it out.
It
It's
is good.
fun.
It is good.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I'm
All right, we're
leave
going to
it
get
at
out of
that.
here on time today. Technically on time anyway. Chat, thank you. As always, all our audio listeners, thank you. We will talk to you next Sunday with the latest and the greatest. Until then, enjoy your gaming. We'll see you then. Bye.
Date everything.